Hi guys, and thank you so much for visiting my channel. I guess if you have clicked on this video, there are one of two reasons for that. Either you have been following me for a while, and from the title of the video you know what has happened, and if you have not followed me, you may have a horse, or you may thinking about ending your horse's life, and therefore are inquiring information about that. So I thought that in this video I would try to kind of tell the story, and at the same time do it in a way that if you're looking for information on what to do and what to expect, I hope you can find some, I hope that you can take something from this video. So as you have, I'm sure, gotten from the title of the video, we had to say goodbye to our beautiful Friesian boy Zaino. It's now a few days ago, and if you haven't followed our story, he was a 22-year-old Friesian. We've had him since he was 5 years old, and we had another Friesian horse, and we also have a Irish cob, or a gypsy horse. And they have been a pack since they were about 5 years old, 3 and 5 years old. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's about 4 years ago we had to say goodbye to our youngest horse, our other Friesian, Duco. And about 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, our second Friesian horse, Zaino, got he suddenly began to walk strange, kind of wobbly with his back legs. And when we took x-rays and the vet examined him, we found that he had arthritis in his neck that was cutting off the passageway, the nerves, or kind of pinching off the nerves to his hind legs or his back legs, making it difficult for him to keep his balance and kind of having control over his back legs. So we have been treating him with steroids, cortisone, for about 5 or 6 weeks. Our horses are used to being out eating in the pastures for 10 to 12 hours, and in summer they often stay out day and night for 6 to 8 weeks. So it's a big part of their lives, and it's an important part for in a horse's life to be able to eat fresh grass and move around outside. And when Zaino was eating, he was bending his neck forward, and that made it even harder. So we kept him still for about 4 weeks, and then we slowly tried to make him move a bit and graze a bit again, and he got a lot worse. And that's not a good life for a horse. So we had to take the hard decision to I'm sorry. I'm sorry guys, I think this is the first time since it happened that that I've been able to kind of sit down and digest everything that's happened. But 1st of June is when we had to say goodbye, and we knew about 5 days. We knew for about a week before that this was going to be the result, and we knew the date for about 4 or 5 days, I think. And in many ways that's the hardest time, when you know you have to say goodbye, but he's still there. We gave him the best possible week we could. He was grazing a little bit, he was getting a lot worse, and the steroids was also kind of taking a toll on his body. Steroids break down the muscles, at least cortisol does. So not only was he having trouble, but the medicine after that long time made it even worse. So when the day came, we had decided that we wanted him to end his days where he has been living his life for the past 17 years in the pasture, grazing, happy. So we kept him in for most of the day, giving him lots of attention and cuddles and he got everything he loved, oranges, apples, breads, he got some candy. And then about an hour and a half before the vet came, we took him out to the pasture and let him graze. And it was such a lovely day, the sun was shining, and he had his friend Nelly there the whole time. And when we came out to the pasture, a deer came out. It wasn't more than maybe, I don't know, 20-25 meters from us, and it stayed the whole time. And my daughter, my husband and I was there. My grandson was also there, as you may have seen from the thumbnail. And I know that some of you may be reacting to or thinking that it's strange that we take a 6-year-old with on something like this, but I think it's important that children have a kind of a natural, that they know that death is a natural part of life, both for animals and humans. And it's a good way to learn by with the animals. So he was with us right until right before the vet came. He's blowing a lot, so I hope you can hear me. And then he went home as the vet did her job, and when it was over and he was gone, then he came back and said goodbye. And he was so sweet. He had made a card, and he had picked a beautiful bouquet of flowers that he laid down. And at first I think he thought it was kind of exciting in a way. He could touch the horse in ways he hadn't before. He could look at his teeth, and then it hit him that he was actually dead and not coming back. Right before we took him out to the pastures, he had been kind of okay the whole day. I think he was trying not to think about what was going to happen. And right before we took him, he started to cry and begged me not to take his life. But we got a chance to kind of explain how this is part of being a good mom for a horse. We talked about how his ending would have been if he was a wild horse, and that it would be hard, much harder, and that this way we had a way of giving him a beautiful ending. Yeah, so he got to say goodbye and lay down the flowers and kind of pet him and touch him and cried a lot. We all did, and then he left. So but while we were busy with him and the vet, right at the end, the deer had been walking around the whole time, and then there came 2 other deers out of the woods. One of them laid down, and all 3 of them stayed until he had passed. I'm sorry guys, this was harder than I thought, but yeah. So the deer stayed until he had passed, and then they left. I wanted to explain kind of the technical or the practical things surrounding this, because I know that as a horse owner I was wondering this. There are in Norway there are two ways to do this. You can either use, and I don't know the English term, but it's kind of a mask you put on the horse, and they kind of shoot a bolt into the horse's brain. I'm sorry this is so graphic, but and then they become brain dead immediately, just fall down, and then they cut the throat. I think that's the most humane and the fastest way to do it, but of course it's messy. It can be hard for the owner. So we opted for the medical version, where they get an overdose of anesthesia. They get a calming drug first, and then they lay down, or some lay down, and then they get an overdose of anesthesia, and that was what we opted for. Of course they have the other options in case it's, because things can happen when you do it that way. We had a bad experience with our other horse. He would not lay down and he was fighting the medication, and we know the vet. She's a wonderful vet, and she knew that we had bad experiences, so yeah. She did such a beautiful job, and he got a very peaceful and beautiful ending. So yeah, I'm sorry guys. The whole day was kind of, it was sad, but at the same time we were so relieved that it was so nice. He was not stressed at all. He fell asleep with his nose on my chest, and when he didn't lay down, but when she gave him the anesthesia, he was gone before he reached the ground. So everything went just as we had hoped, and he got a beautiful ending. So, and now he's with his friend Duko, I'm sure. Again, on the more technical side, Zaino, it's not like when you have to say goodbye to a dog, you can kind of just pick it up and go to the vet. There's a lot more organizing involved in this, and we had to organize that ourselves. Of course, we have to have a cadaver car come and pick the cadaver up. I'm sorry if this is very technical, but I know that I was wondering this. I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Norway they kind of have this weekly route, so we knew that Wednesdays were the day that he was in this area, so we kind of planned accordingly. Of course, sometimes you cannot plan that, and here we could have ended up in a situation where the animal is kind of laying there for 5 days, and yeah, I don't have to go into detail why that is difficult, but yeah. So we were, that too was a good thing when it came to us being able to plan it. So yeah, it's hard and it's sad, but at the same time we got to be part of Zaino's flock for 17 years. He reached the age of 22. Friesian horses have a lot of genetic challenges, and this is one of them, because they have such a great big long neck that's placed high. Makes them look beautiful, but yeah, there are some challenges to that. So if you are thinking, if you have clicked on this video thinking you want to buy a Friesian horse, please do. They're the best horses, but at the same time know that they don't live as long as other horses. 13 to 16 years is kind of the average age of Friesian horse. So when Zaino reached the age of 22, that's a lot, so we are so thankful for that. But other than that, yeah, I'm rambling now, guys, but I just wanted to come on and tell you, if you have any questions, doesn't matter about what, you can ask me anything, please do in the comments, and I will answer you. Norway is a kingdom, and when the king dies, they say the king is dead, long live the king. As a child I thought that was so strange, that they said long live the king when the king was dead, but of course they are speaking about the new king. So because when the king dies, suddenly right away there's a new king or queen. And it's a bit like that with horses as well. At least if you have 2 horses in a stable and one dies, horses cannot, they are pack animals and should not be alone. So we kind of right away had to start planning to get a new friend for our lady Nelly, and you have already seen her walking behind me. So we made some inquiries. We used Facebook and social media to let people know that we were looking for a friend for Nelly. She had gotten pretty used to be a few hours alone, but she got pretty depressed and pretty fast, staying all alone. So on the second day she was really sad, but we got lucky and got contacted by a lady that had a old racehorse. I don't know the English word, but in Norway they raise horses by letting them trot with a small wagon behind them. I don't know if that's only in, it's not only in Norway, but I don't know if that's in the US and UK and other countries. But she's been a racehorse for about, from the age of 3 to about 12, I think. And then she was put into breeding, and she had 5 babies in 5 years. It's hard to be a breeding animal. And then she had stayed at the farm here about 4 hours away from here for the last 2.5–3 years. And the lady that had her, she was staying at a farm with cows and sheep and with the donkey. She didn't have a horse friend either, but the lady didn't have time for her, so she gave her to us. She's 20 years old and Nelly is 21, so they are old ladies, but now at least they have each other. It has been and it still is kind of getting used to the situation. Nelly is not used to, she's used to having the boys kind of telling her what to do. She has never been the leader, and now she's a leader, and she's not a very good one yet. Fingers crossed that she will be better, but they are really dependent on each other already. They don't want to go anywhere without the others, but Nelly is still kind of chasing. The new one is called Borka. It's a strange name. We only call her Borka. And Nelly is chasing Borka all over the place. But we know that she thinks she's happy to have a friend. Thank you so much, guys, for all the prayers and well wishes and lovely comments. We have appreciated it so much. Yeah. Okay, guys. Maybe I'll give you a kind of a... We can go and say hi to the new horse. What will you give me? Ska vi visa vår fiende? So this is our new beautiful lady, Borka. Soot means soot. Borka is from her father. She is the daughter of the most famous cold-blooded racehorse in Norway. He was called Bork Rigel. So Bork is from that. She's a lovely lady. She has a little more energy than what we are used to with Nelly, but she's kind and yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you again for my next video. Bye. Lihat di bawah yang terakhir. Lihat di bawah yang terakhir. Kuita. Kuita.